Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are. I hope you're having a fantastic day. It's SoulSaint here, and we got some events and news coming up. And I actually have to be honest with you guys. I wasn't expecting for it to be as beautiful as I was expecting it for it to be. I want to talk to you guys about some of the stuff that's going on in the game and seeing how we've been hearing a lot of like teasers and news about events and like big content coming out, and I've been waiting for it. And I'm not gonna lie, we've been in a little bit of a lull where we're waiting for players, or players as a whole have been waiting for like new content to come out or something that we can really sink our teeth into. Well, we do have the Festival of Frights, and I did notice that there are a couple things that are open that that we can take a look at, which we'll break down today, as well as some stuff that we haven't available to us just yet. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm actually very, very interested. This event so far sounds like it's going to be available for about 2 weeks and 6 days, and I'm very curious as to what we're going to experience. So, with that being said, let's dive into it. We got the Halloween Titan event, which seems to be the overarching event, right? There's going to be a lot of sub-events in there. This kind of reminds me similar to the UDK event we had not too long ago, close to, I think it was like Plarian's birthday, or it may have been Raid's birthday, where you could basically work your way up the rankings to get to a point where you would be able to acquire souls. Now, is this worth it? Let's just start there right off the rip. I'm going to say this personally from my standpoint, that I feel like Sun Wukong is amongst some of the better champions in PvP, and also seems to be a pretty consistent contributor towards like content like Hydra, for example, which are two areas that I see him shine in. So for me, automatically, the answer is an absolute yes. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This champion is awesome. He's great. I even bought the skin for him, so you already know that I'm biased for him. I'm just going to be honest. With that being said, there's a lot of stuff going on. So you have to acquire points in order to acquire souls, which will then be, you acquire points, which will get you some basically some rewards along the way. And I'm going to break it down about whether or not this is worth it or not. For the most part, I already kind of took a gander at it, but we're going to kind of get to the long and short of it. Depending on where you are in the account, on this account, even if you're not going for souls specifically for Sun Wukong, it's still good to consider getting like some things along the way. Gems are always really good because they can be converted into energy or silver or other things like metals for PvP, etc. Very versatile resource, very good for being able to give you a lot of access to a lot of content, okay? Silver, you always got something to enchant, you always got something to upgrade, you always got something to work on, and silver is going to be one of those lifelines to be, it's basically what you have to pump into your account to be able to allow you to do some things, right? So silver's good. Although this number is a little bit low, 50k is not too high at all. I mean, you could probably do a run of like Spider and you pretty much would have that and then some, right? 2-star chickens, not really worth it. You can pull a couple Mr. Stars, you get a little bit of going on there, right? So like some of these early rewards don't seem all that crazy on a new account, and that's something that I would say that like as players are progressing, they're looking for more of the meat down the road. Like rare tombs and magic brews and rank 2s, maybe even rank 3s are a little bit lackluster. Energy is nice, we don't mind that. Multi-battles aren't really that valuable if you're familiar with RSL Helper. Then you know that basically covers what multi-battles do for you. But when you start progressing into the later stages of like the milestones, like, particularly around like milestone 3 and 4, you start seeing some things like Immortal Stone Essences. You start seeing some glyphs that you can use for gear, Mortal Soul Stones on top of that, oils, 4-star chickens, which now you're starting to talk about like good food to use or good chickens to work with, right? And that's not to say we don't mind any of them, but like in particular, like once you start getting to 4 and 5-star, that's when it's like a little bit more heftier in terms of the grind to bring up another champion to 5-star so you can use it for 6-star food. I get it. It takes a little bit, but around milestone 3 and particularly at 4 is when things start really getting interesting. So, you know, Immortal Soul Coins, for those that are aware about like the value of blessings. If you're not, then one way I'll tell you this is just basically amplifying your champion's base stats, or basically there's some stats depending on the choices you make, as well as the passes that you're able to get, whether it's bonus damage, a way to execute someone, or a way to provide control, or to give yourself some extra advantage, for lack of better words. It's very good, right? So like getting soul stones, soul essences, and things of that sort is never a bad thing. Oils is taking your gear to the next step, a very valuable asset, something that I've been diving into a lot more to bring my champions to the next step, and believe me, it's paying off. Glyphs, 6-star glyphs now we're starting to look at. Although this one in particular is resistance, I still don't think that's a bad thing. You know, resistance is a great attribute to have. We're looking for like speed ones, but hold on to that thought, right? Epic tombs. At my point of my account, I have an excessive amount of epics, and I'm just looking for champions to book nowadays. So like that's a little bit less value, but for an account that's progressing still, who utilizes a lot of epics, then that actually may have some very high value for you. Void shards for me on this side, though, very, very high value because I am looking for void Legos nowadays. You know, that's something that I'm trying to get my account progressing towards. And you know what? Having an extra shard for an extra pull doesn't hurt, right? Ores is actually becoming a lot more important for my account, too, because I'm rolling and re-rolling and reworking to see if I can get, like, that perfect piece. And I'll give you an example. I had an attack-type boots that I decided to, against everybody else's, volition or their own suggestion that, don't keep attack-based boots, and I normally wouldn't, right? In the sense of, like, the value, but it was on a speed set, it was legendary, it was 6 stars, like, you know what? If I can oil it, and then if I ore it, maybe I can get lucky. So I started cutting the preliminaries, and guess what happened? Not only did I get the oil I desired, which was speed at the time, I ended up oring it and getting speed on top of that. So, like, now I got speed boots with speed ascension, in speed set, which is a phenomenal piece to have, and it even comes with some complementary defensive stats, which is not too bad, and that's where, like, oil can really change the dynamic of an item that may be lackluster or just missing something, and then you can take it to the next notch. Now, mind you, it's all RNG, and it's rare, there's a chance that you get a poor, even worse piece, and you're worse off for it, but, you always have to take those chances and keep that in mind of what you're dealing with when you're dealing with ore. But having the opportunity is never a bad thing, right? Take a bad piece that you already know is bad, but has potential if you ore it because you oiled well or whatever, and take it to the next step. There's a win, right? You're better off without. You're at no worse than you were before if it was already a bad piece, right? So I try to keep those little elements in mind whenever I get like 6-star pieces that are epic or higher, and try to work my way and navigate through that. I need Asplarium. Where's the mythic ore, so we can start trying our hands at some better mythic pieces too. If we get like a bad piece, we want to convert it to a better piece or the chance to. It'd be nice, right? Primal shards, hit or miss depending on your value of them. I think it's good to have. You don't really need it, but if you get a mythic, then great, right? It's just another shard at the end of the day, and that's how I'm going to treat it, right? Immortal Soul Stones, another chance for extra blessing. We'll see. The 4-star blessing for Sun Wukong is pretty nice, I won't lie. So, the thing that I was keeping in the back of my head was this, and I've been tinkering with 2 different builds. I did do the utility Wukong. I have recently transitioned to the damage Wukong build just to give it a test, and you know what? I was happily surprised. As a matter of fact, he's one of my go-to for live arena picks for nukers at the moment, and he's a menace. He's actually very strong, very prominent, and just very disruptive in the summary words, right? Well, at the later blessings, at any given blessing, when you get to level 2 or level 4 or level 6, basically even numbers, you get base stat upgrades. So if I were to change, I was thinking about changing him over to Lightning Cage since he has a lot of buff interaction. Even then I would still get my 500 attack. We get some HP, some crit damage, and then at tier 6 we get the upgraded version of our passive or bonus that you would get with a part of the kit, and then you'd also get like basically a heavy influx of stats, right? So that's valuable for me because 1, the base stats are nice, but I'm also a step closer to being able to farm my way up towards having some Wukong completed, and that would be very, very nice. Now, because of that, I kind of have this particular Halloween Titan event as a W, depending on what you got to deal with, right? So like there's events and tournaments that you got to get points with, and that's something that kind of we're gonna have to rumble through. But let me get to the rest of the items, and then we'll jump into what we have to do to get these points to get progression in these milestones. Okay, Hazecliff, I was waiting for it. It is here. An avatar for Punko Jack, which is kind of cool if you're into collecting the avatars, or if you want to have like a special avatar for yourself. If you're favoring the way he looks aesthetically, then by all means grab him. Superior oils, that's a lot to farm. It's a lot to have an acquisition of, so a W for me. Eternal Soul Coins, this will be a pretty hefty amount of essences when you when you convert them. I think it's like a good 4 or 5. I think it's about 4 if I remember correctly, because it's like 50 per. So you can convert that over, it's pretty well, or you can convert it into the big soul stone and take your chances at that, right? Legendary ore, we talked about ore already, really good. XP barrel, not as valuable for me, to be honest with you. And a lot of times whenever I'm considering XP barreling, it's very forced. It's like, man, I'm going to be working on, if I'm taking a champion to 6-star, I'm going to be working on mastery shortly after, and then by the time I'm done with mastery, he's almost already fully leveled anyway. So it's like the XP barrel is like, yeah, it's not really like that big of a deal for me. It's not bad, but if you're looking to immediately inject yourself into quickly having something done for a project, or you like, hey, I've been waiting on this is something that I need to execute on a time-sensitive manner, XP barrels will help, right? Rank 5 chickens, automatic W. That means we are 1 step closer, 1/5 of the way closer towards another 6-star legendary or next 6-star epic or whatever you're working on, right? Legendary tombs, another big value for me because we have plenty of legendaries we've been acquiring lately. If you've been a part of the Prison Crystal event, you definitely got your chance at some, right? And if you so happen to strike lucky like me, I got Uko recently. He needs some books. I'm trying to get him up and running, and we need him. We need him, basically, long and short. Mythical tombs, debatably need them if you have mythicals. If not, maybe you could save them for a rainy day when you do get a mythical. We do have Lady Mikage in the chart, and I'm going to talk about her too as well. And then, of course, the Eternal Soul Stone. All great stuff going on, and I have to admit that like there's a lot of activity right now in this game. Just from these set of events alone, it's very exciting. I'm very happy to see what we got going on. However, we do have to collect points along the way, so how do we get them? So events and tournaments, let's take a look. Right now, there's an active Dungeon Divers event. If you've seen, I'm already kind of starting my way to farming it. As of right now, as you progress through it, you'll get Halloween points. Those points are what's converted into the actual Titan event, which will get you these rewards, right? So, as of right now, I don't mind the Dungeon Diver events because we're in the middle of a 3x Savage event, so very, very value here. But I did want to talk about this Fire Knight turn attack because it's very conditional. You have to have only champions from the faction of Demon Spawn. Okay, good. In the sense that there are a couple key meta champions that can be used, at least at the stage 25, you know, the 25 stages, you can get some chances there. But in the higher stages of like hard mode, where you're going to want to farm at for mythical pieces, champions like Allure, who is pretty staple for meta for Fire Knight, kind of died down because you can't do turn meta manipulation, right? Not in the intrinsic way of just straight up TM reduction through her A1. Now you have to use like freeze or frost champions or freeze champions to be able to acquire that turn meta reduction to keep going, like Newt, for example, right? And that kind of kills the desire of it. I haven't done any specifics, but I do notice that like they do have points rewards in this particular lineup of tournaments, and it's either disheartening or encouraging in a sense, and I'm hoping that this is just considered a bonus, not something we have to actively participate in, because as of right now, I would be much more excited about farming the higher stages of Fire Knight so I can get better pieces of Savage, more so than having to farm lower stages just to finish up the points. So we have to do like a balance, and this is what I recommend for all players, is you have to do a balance of like understanding where you are, understanding the needs of your account, and then making a decision based off of that information that will lead you to like, okay, I could set some resources aside to do this Demon Spawn Fire Knight turn attack event. Okay, good. And then if not, then it's like, well, maybe I need to be aware of like what my expectations are. You know, will I be able to get to this particular milestone I'm looking to get to, whether it's the legendary book or if it's the split soul for Sun Wukong. You got to make sure that you're aware of what you're losing. So automatically, if you decided that I'm not going to participate in this particular event, then I need to be aware of how many points I'm losing, which is at this point in time at least 50 right off the rip. And that's something to be very conscious of. You got to be very careful about. They haven't really expressed too much, and this is where this whole Festival of Frights is kind of really cool to kind of get like an experience from. I'm not seeing too much else in terms of information. We do have a Hero's Path, which I'm pretty sure is going to have some of those points. We also have, and I'm going to disappear for a second here, where you could see a little bit of extra stuff down the road. Like we got an extra legendary event that's probably going to come around. I believe this is probably going to be like a Pogo event type legendary event with like maybe Ancients, for example. Is it worth pulling? The answer is completely conditional. Are you close to Mercy? Because if so, you're a step closer. If you're not, then you need to understand how much it's going to take just to get to that point, because you're not operating within a 2x window. There's a lot of rhetoric that goes behind whether or not you should make the decision or not, and I want you guys to just be conscious of where you're at in your account, and then move based off of the knowledge you have, right? An educated best bet, your educated moves that you're going to be doing, right? But I think that we're going to have more events that are going to be dropping. I think that like the turn attack one for like the Demon Spawn is just one of many different things we're going to experience throughout different ones. I know we're going to have probably some dragon events that are going to sync up with the 3x dragon that we got down the road for speed. That's going to be very exciting. Let me know what you guys think. Are we excited about this particular event? I will say for me, if we want to be, just completely honest, I am very excited about being able to get upgraded souls for Sun Wukong, especially since I'm using him as a damage dealer at the moment. And to be honest with you, having him at 4-star automatically makes it so that if I get him or Duchess, I'm automatically trajectorying towards my 5th star, which means I'm one step closer to being finished with those champions. So this is a nice little injection of improving Sun Wukong's standings within blessing when it comes to blessings, and his quality a lot faster, a lot rapidly. I can tell you this from my own experiences that I've had opportunities to get Duchess, and it took me a long time, and we really had to sweat for our access to being able to get her 4-star, right? Or her 4th blessing. And I'll be real with you, like I was, concerned and like losing a rotation of her means that there's a possibility that I have to wait weeks, maybe even months, because we have to wait for it to show back up in the soul market, or at the mercy of soul stones, which we don't have any control over. So like, you know, when you have the opportunity to get these type of souls, and you're looking at it from like a time constraint standpoint, the sooner you can make moves on it, the better it is, right? So like for me, now that I've been progressing on IT pretty aggressively, or I've been, you know, making a lot of like resources, and I'm establishing my focus and like who I'm going to prioritize, I've been able to collect resources. So now I'm ready. If I get Sun Wukong to level 5, or I see Duchess in the market, I can afford both of them right now, which is what that's what I want. Now, my fear is that after that, I need to make sure I'm ready for the 6-star, right? So whoever shows up first after I get the star for Sun Wukong, I want to make sure that I have those resources available. So if I'm the one that shows up, that's going to be my 6-star that I'm going to focus and prioritize, and then from there we'll try to make some moves, and we'll try to prepare and make ourselves a lot more effective. I've been noticing there's some packs that are related to like a lot of these like spooktastic events or like Halloween related events, and I would just say that utilize resources. I know Smiley TK has like a resource where they do a breakdown on some of these. You can also look at like pack offer calculators within RSL Helper, or even on websites like MTG Jedi or Hell Hades, and you could get other opinions before making the decision on whether or not this is the right one for you. As always, I do think like energy and gems are never a bad thing to put yourself in favor of, because they allow your account to be active and progressing in some states. So definitely not a bad option. We do like void gems, you know, or void stars, you know, shards. You know, we like books, we like a lot of different things, but make the most you know, wisely financial decision based off of your account, your IRL situation, the whole 9 yards, right? With that being said, I hope you find this video very informative. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I hope you've gotten some mythic pieces already that are really good and savage. And as always remember, stay ascended.
So it's 100 on the